There is a persistent human impulse to reach beyond our immediate boundaries. We constantly look for the next horizon, the next space to fill. But growth has a shadow. Left entirely unchecked, the drive for expansion easily distorts. Ambition swells into overindulgence, and the search for personal meaning calcifies into rigid, unyielding dogma. In astrological language, Jupiter serves as the symbolic engine governing the way our belief systems scale. It maps the mechanics of how a single idea expands into a worldview. It operates on a 12-year geometric cycle. Symbolically, this orbit functions as a blueprint, tracking the distinct, rhythmic phases of human opportunity and measuring the slow inflation of our worldviews over time. By observing this celestial timing, the development of our personal philosophies stops looking like a series of random events. Instead, our capacity for growth reveals itself as a highly structured geometric architecture. The architecture begins at 0 degrees, the conjunction. This absolute starting line is the inception point, where a new worldview takes root. This initial spark represents unbridled potential, the explosive opening of an opportunity, occurring before any limitations have been established. Yet, an initial burst of energy cannot expand endlessly into a vacuum. As time progresses, this raw outward momentum inevitably collides with structural resistance. 3 years later, the cycle reaches the square. At exactly 90 degrees from its origin, the geometry introduces major friction. This is worldview inflation. The initial optimism meets real-world constraints, and the resulting pressure causes that confidence to warp into overindulgence. The mythic warnings tied to this phase are clear. When we reach too far too fast, our belief systems distort. Genuine faith, when denied immediate gratification, often hardens into arrogant dogma. However, this friction serves a distinct purpose. It acts as a reality testing mechanism, forcing an idea to prove its structural integrity before it can inflate into toxic excess. If the belief system survives that initial test of pressure, the geometry of the cycle evolves, shifting away from grinding friction and moving back into a state of harmonic flow. At 120 degrees, the aspect creates a trine. This triangular geometry offers true structural balance, where growth translates into the formal laws of society. Here, raw expansion is codified. An experimental belief matures into a predictable, shared system of rules. It is a period of consolidation. The stabilizing energy takes temporary, fleeting opportunities and anchors them, forging them into permanent structural wisdom. But the cycle does not rest in harmony. As the orbit continues to its halfway mark, the fully grown belief system approaches its ultimate macrodynamic test. At 180 degrees, we reach the opposition. Here, the fully expanded worldview is forced to face its absolute polar opposite across the chart. This polarity triggers a severe shift in collective sentiment. It is a massive reality check, demanding that deeply held philosophies defend themselves against opposing truths. There are only 2 outcomes at this peak. An inflated worldview must either rigorously prove its practical worth, or it will collapse under its own unsustainable weight. By forcing a definitive choice between blind dogma and integrated truth, the peak of the cycle acts as a crucible. It ensures that only genuine, tested wisdom survives the return journey. When we view these mechanical phases together, the pattern becomes obvious. Expansion is never a straight, infinite line upward. It is a breathing, pulsating rhythm of tension, harmony, and evaluation. Astrological mapping serves as a symbolic language of archetypes. By viewing these cycles as psychological blueprints, we can observe the patterns of our own development while maintaining individual agency. Individuals can apply this cyclic framework to trace their own periods of rapid opportunity. More importantly, they can use it to identify the exact moments their behavioral tendencies begin to lean toward ideological inflation. This is the ultimate lesson embedded in the Jupiter mythos. Expansion without a structured container to hold it is nothing more than hot air. By aligning our awareness with these symbolic planetary cycles, we learn to navigate our internal rhythms. We learn how to scale our ideas safely, transforming blind belief into conscious, grounded wisdom.